The Gaza Strip, a sliver of land along the Mediterranean coast, has become synonymous with conflict and human suffering. The recent escalation of violence has exacerbated an already dire situation. Daily life in Gaza has been tragically disrupted. Homes reduced to rubble, schools in ruins, and hospitals struggling to function. Streets once bustling with life now bear witness to the remnants of war. The impact is most acutely felt by the vulnerable children, women, and the elderly. Children bear the brunt of the trauma, their education disrupted. Women face unimaginable challenges as they struggle to rebuild their lives. Families seek refuge in overcrowded shelters, their lives on hold. The psychological toll of living under siege leaves invisible scars. The war has dealt a devastating blow to Gaza's already fragile economy, pushing it to the brink of collapse. The relentless bombardment has crippled vital infrastructure, including power plants, water treatment facilities, and communication networks. The once thriving businesses now lie in ruins, their owners struggling to comprehend the scale of their losses. The GDP has contracted by a staggering 35%, wiping out years of progress and plunging the region further into poverty. Unemployment has skyrocketed to nearly 50%, leaving half of the workforce without a source of income. The poverty rate has soared to 74%, meaning that 3/4 of the population struggles to meet their basic needs. The healthcare system, already strained before the war, is on the verge of collapse, lacking essential medicines and equipment. Schools struggle to function, their classrooms overcrowded and lacking basic supplies. The international community has pledged billions of dollars in aid to Gaza, but the scale of the destruction and the complex political realities on the ground have made it challenging to deliver aid effectively. The blockade imposed on Gaza has severely restricted the flow of goods and services, hindering reconstruction efforts and exacerbating the humanitarian crisis. The war in Gaza has triggered a humanitarian crisis of catastrophic proportions. The relentless bombardment has displaced hundreds of thousands of people from their homes, forcing them to seek refuge in overcrowded shelters, schools, and mosques. These shelters, ill-equipped to handle the influx of displaced families, lack basic necessities such as clean water, sanitation, and healthcare facilities. Hospitals, overwhelmed with casualties, are struggling to cope with the influx of patients. The shortage of essential medicines, medical supplies, and qualified medical personnel has created a desperate situation, particularly for those with chronic illnesses and children suffering from malnutrition. The psychological toll of the war on the people of Gaza, particularly children, is immeasurable. The constant fear of violence, the loss of loved ones, and the destruction of their homes have left deep emotional scars. The international community has responded to the crisis with pledges of humanitarian aid, but the scale of the needs is overwhelming, and the blockade imposed on Gaza continues to hinder the delivery of essential goods and services. Section 4. Scars that run deep. The long shadow of war. The war in Gaza will have long-lasting consequences that will take years, if not decades, to overcome. The physical destruction of infrastructure can be rebuilt, but the psychological scars left on the population will take much longer to heal. The trauma endured by children, who have witnessed unimaginable violence and loss, will have a profound impact on their development and future prospects. The economic devastation will continue to cast a long shadow over Gaza. The loss of livelihoods, the destruction of businesses, and the collapse of infrastructure will take years to rebuild, leaving many families trapped in a cycle of poverty and despair. The lack of access to education and employment opportunities will have a devastating impact on the next generation, perpetuating the cycle of poverty and conflict. Section 5. Ripples of instability, Jordan on the brink. The conflict in Gaza has sent shockwaves throughout the region, with neighboring Jordan feeling the tremors most acutely. Already grappling with its own set of economic and social challenges, Jordan has been pushed to the brink by the influx of refugees fleeing the violence in Gaza. The Hashemite kingdom, known for its generosity in providing refuge to those fleeing conflict, is now facing an unprecedented crisis. The influx of refugees has placed a significant strain on Jordan's already limited resources, particularly water, healthcare, and education. The country, already facing water scarcity, is struggling to provide clean water and sanitation facilities to the growing refugee population. Hospitals and clinics are overwhelmed, struggling to cope with the increased demand for medical care. Schools are overcrowded, with many children forced to attend classes in shifts or in makeshift classrooms. The economic impact of the conflict has also been felt in Jordan, with the tourism industry and foreign investment declining. The government, already struggling to manage a large budget deficit, is now facing mounting pressure to provide for the needs of the refugees while also addressing the country's own economic challenges. Section 6. A call for action, the urgent need for peace. The ongoing conflict in Gaza is a stark reminder of the human cost of conflict and the urgent need for peace. The international community cannot stand idly by as innocent lives are lost and a region is pushed to collapse. The time for empty rhetoric is over. Now is the time for concrete action. UN officials have called for an immediate ceasefire and a return to negotiations. These calls for peace must be heeded. The international community must pressure all parties to end the violence and engage in dialogue. Beyond a ceasefire, a comprehensive recovery plan for Gaza is crucial. The international community must commit to rebuilding Gaza's infrastructure and economy. The conflict in Gaza is a global issue. The international community has a moral responsibility to act for peace and stability in the region.